Well, this will be for part 2. I was just checking around for capacitors and whether I need axials or radials, and I'm looking in here and I see this piece of wire that doesn't look quite like factory wire, and it's kind of just hanging there, but I look where it's soldered and see if I'm going to light it up a little bit. See if you can see where it's soldered. Not sure why this would be like this. I'm going to assume it's not factory. Where is it? It's going to each side of the resistor here. It's shorting out the resistor. Not sure why. Alright, so here we have it. Let's get ready and try it again. I took that jumper wire off of that 10-watt resistor. I believe that was an attempt to raise the dead key because it was in the AM modulator circuit that feeds the final. So I'm just pretty much sure that's probably what that was. So let's see. Let me turn this back on. I'm going to bring it up slowly in case I really mess something up. Put a limit. Right, I see LEDs coming on over here. LEDs coming on over here. Alright. Things are coming on. I don't see anything yet. Alright. Just plug the microphone in. I'm going to turn it back down here a little bit and take the limit off of it. So I can set my voltage up to a respectable, I don't know, 117. Going a little over 1 amp right now. Like the alignment is way out because I'm on 18 there and 20 on there. So the spotter is working, it's just way off. Take a better look at this. 7 on that. Now I'm showing 7 volts. See what happens if I attempt to ground, which pin would be. Maybe that pin right there, which is 2 maybe? pin 2 must be the key when I key it to ground. Don't show much at all. I'll zoom into the watt meter back there. Let's see the watt meter. I think we only showing about 2 or 3 watts. Let me turn this on. Okay, so let's see. I have 50 watts slug in there, so 4 watts would be way down about here. You can see the 0 and the 10, that's 5 watts. So that'd be about 4. I haven't checked the tube or the bias or anything on any of this, so I just want to see if it keys up. So here we go. Looks like maybe about 2 watts. Alright, so we'll get some capacitors for everything, and mainly the main power supply capacitors. Clean it all up, align it, and see what we come up with. I don't even know what all that disgustingness is. I'm going to try and clean it off. You can see there's buildup along here as well. See what happens. Alrighty. They came out pretty nice. There's a little dust discoloration and marks here from rust, but not bad at all. That's the one. And I think it was cigarette smoke, or a buildup of cigarette smoke and probably humidity. Same one here. Alright. And I got my stoppers on the, wash these, and I got the stoppers on them. So the exterior is pretty much squared away, I think. Alright, so I checked all the tubes, and I have 4 faulty ones, 2 that are complete fails, and 2 that are extremely low. The capacitors have started to come in, and the microphone right here, this microphone here, if you can see, yeah, it works. So I put it back together and changed the wiring up top, and now I'm going to fish around and see if I can get another cable. This cable's obviously destroyed, so then that'll be good. And the tubes, some of the tubes are a little expensive, so might have to wait a little bit on that. I cleaned the face of the transmitter and all the knobs. So this here's the receiver, and I'll be doing that next. The knobs are kind of, they're not real bad, a little bit grody, a little bit of buildup on them. But I'll clean all them, put that back together, and probably work on recapping the transmitter first. Here's where the tuner board are, and these wee little tiny vacuum tubes right here. So if you're ever looking for these in your radio, they almost look like a transistor, but they plug in back here, and there's 2 of them. You test them the same way with a vacuum or with a tube tester. I think one of these is bad. I have everything written down, all the tubes that were bad. But all in all, not too bad. There's actually some original Browning tubes still in here. So this cover goes on top. It helps keep some of the RF out of the tuner. And you take that off. That's where you find the other 4 tubes. There's 2 of these, and there's 2. They 12, can't remember what they were. I think they were 12AX7s, but let me see. I have my pad. Yeah, they're both 12AX7s. I'm sorry, AT7. Is that an AT? Yeah. They're both 12 AT7s. And this is a 6DS4. Alright. It's coming along nicely. I still want to recrimp the rest of the terminals back here and the plug that goes from the transmitter to receiver. I only did those 4 power ones, but I want to do the rest of them. And we're moving. Alright, a couple days have gone past, and this Q304, the tested faulty that controls the relay for the transmit receive, it was an RCA part number 40327, which is pretty old and outdated. They were still available, but I just looked up something that was similar, and I came up with this. Hopefully it'll work. It's a 2N3440, which probably isn't a whole lot newer than that, but anyhow, it was easier to get, and one got here in just 2 days. So let's put it on here and see what we end up with. Spin it so you can see it better. What do we got? Testing, testing. Alright, so it's showing me this is definitely a NPN transistor, whereas the other one kind of just showed me it was a resistor, or sometimes it would just say bad or unknown part. So we'll put this in. It's got the same pinout. It's a TO39, I believe, is the configuration, and it's the same pinout as this. And Q304 here on the board, I'll show you, already has the silk screen done, and I'm going to zoom you back up to that, let you look in on that. Still kind of dusty, haven't really done much to it. Oh, is it going to focus? I don't know. Let me see. Sometimes I have to take autofocus off. I don't know why. Alright, and you can see, I'll point to it, right there is the tab on the can, right above the Q, and the pinout seems to fit right in there, so we'll see if the transistor fits right in there the same way. I'm trying to do this without glasses on, and my hand, and well, I do have glasses, but can't make up an excuse for that. One, there we go. There, it fits right in. So, spin it around, and let you see where it goes in here. I don't think I'm really going to try and solder that with you watching, because all you're going to see is my hand and the soldering iron. It's pretty easy to get to. It's these 3 guys right here. So we'll do that, and then I'll go hook it back up, and we'll be ready to check. Alrighty, some new capacitors came in, and let's see. I believe, would you believe? Let's see, there's that. We had one of those. I'm going to start back in here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 here. It looks like the screws right here will take that, allow me to lean it forward. Just make sure that I got what I wanted. I also ordered a coiled mic cord for the mic, and just a generic one. It might be a little too generic to use, and I'll go over that later. I'm not real happy with it. See what happens. I thought it was a 4 conductor with a shield, and here I believe it's just like a 6 or 8 conductor or something, that they just cut the extra wires off, so it's really thin to begin with. So the wires themselves are super thin, and I don't think there's any shield on it. So let's take a look at that. that out of my way. Here's a bunch of capacitors here. You can't see what I'm doing here. I'm just opening up my capacitors here. From Just Radio. I'm trying to make it so it's like blurry. Just Radio. I think they're in Canada. Ontario, yeah. And I don't know, I always seem to, I like to get my capacitors from them. I've had no problems with them thus far, so. And on the back of this, they give you a handy dandy little chart. Tells you if the capacitor's marked how, what it is. Not so much for these, because electrolytics, you know, they're written all over them what they are. Here's some tubing that they sent. Now the first thing I want to make sure is I have a couple of 100 microfarads at some voltage. And I think I actually wanted those. Hopefully I ordered them as radios. Here we go. There's one. What's the other 100? Oh, look at you. 150 volts. That'll be just fine. And they'll go. They'll go back. Right back here. Alright, what's the other one? We got a 1 microfarad at 50 volts, and that's an axial. There's a 5. What's the other one? The other one's 25 microfarads, so we get, let's see, move those out of our way. I'm going to put these over here because we know those we'll be using. Alright, so driving over thing. Surprised it wasn't a capacitor I drove over. Okay. Just that. Okay. So let me get this going, and I'm not going to make a video or watch while I'll show you while I take it apart. This will be new to me as well. One screw, well, almost. One screw and two screws. Oops. Guess I better find the star washers. There's the other one. Here's one here, and here's one here. And I'll be able to just lean this. I'm going to actually pull these tubes out. One, and a 2. And a 3. There we go. I can lean that down and work nicely right there. Of course, that's not how it's going to actually transpire, is it? Because I got to get down in here. But okay, I won't bore you with that, and I'll be back when this is done. So I got a 1 and a 25 I got to find yet. All right, got a lot of the caps replaced already. However, on this board, in order to do them, I've got to take this board out. See how much of a picnic that is. I mean, it doesn't look that awful, but it'd be nice if we could get them from underneath. So keep going here. It's got some 1/4-inch screws. It actually, just the board itself lifts up. I mean, it's not like it's, I mean, that's the way it looks. It doesn't look like there's a bunch of other boards underneath it. Not like the TS940 or something. So I'll keep you posted as we're moving on here. Alright, so after I take these screws out, or the nuts rather, it's got a BNC jack that plugs in, and it looks like the wire comes right up to here. And probably the best way is going to be for me to take that jack, or that wire, off, and I should be able to pull the board up. Let's see how that works. I don't know, I sound too convinced. I think that wires the jack. Let's see if I can move around a little bit. Let's see. That's gotta be it. Yeah, it looks like I'll be able to get that. There's one other wire that goes down to a diode, but I think that'll come off. I don't know if you can really see what I'm doing here, but here, this is the wire here. It goes to the BNC. Well, that was it. Huh, you're laughing, thinking, how am I going to get that wire back on? Well, we'll see. Let me get to replacing capacitors. Alright, so I was just taking it over there to see if I could power it back up after replacing the wires in the transmitter section, and I noticed that the lights that say AM upper sideband, lower sideband, that only the upper sideband worked, and if I jiggled it, the lower and AM worked. Let's see if you can see this. Apparently there's bulbs on it too that say on the air. I'm going to put this over here, and this is the device that the bulbs go into, and of course they don't appear to be plug-in bulbs. I really don't know. They look, and put that over there. Here's the bulbs. They all kind of were rattling around in there. Some of them look like they're still good. These are obviously no good anymore, and they're incandescent. So get the I wonder. Oh, I'll have to get the working voltage of these. Are probably tied in with the filament windings. And I think we're going to be converting these to LED for a multitude of reasons. One is the wires are all broken off of these, and they won't get quite as hot. So you can see a little bit of discoloration here. I imagine that's the AM one. So let me see if I can find a way to modify these to work with LED, which I don't think should be that hard. And we'll press on. I'll keep you in the loop here. Alright, put a bunch of caps and things in it, but not done yet. But I had to change a good amount of things over. So let me just see if it works at least as good as it did. This one I'm not too worried about, just make sure it does what it did before. Alright, everything should be turned on. LEDs are coming on. Alright, the transmitters on the bench, everything seems to work as it used to work with that, other than the exception that I took the LED display, the display out, and it looks like 5mm LEDs will fit right in that, and it's 6 volts AC. So let me see what I can come up with for that. I believe it was right off the filament, so we'll be good with that. And I'll see what kind of LEDs I can come up with for that. So I'm going to start to recap this. I don't think there's as many caps in this. And I have a couple of tubes that I need to replace, and I didn't get those yet. Alright, so here I am. Here's the, whatever you want to call it, display plate. That little sheet of paper that goes over, it's kind of like a opaque. Then there's the red lens. Here's the back where the light bulb stuck in, and this went on like so. Now a 5mm LED fits in these holes nicely. Some of them it's tighter than others, but these they fit in great. These were a little bit tight getting in. So what I will do is I'll actually solder them into this plate first and then push that in. Then there's the little metal tabs that hold everything in here. And they're also the screw mount. They go this way. That hold this plate into the radio. So it looks like I don't need to leave this out. Be able to put this back in, mount this up. Now the way this works is the center bus would be the this would be the 6.3 volts from the filament AC, and then when you ground this through the transmit receive switch, it grounds out your LED or your lights, and that provides a ground path. Those lights come on. This would be AM, lower sideband, upper sideband, and again they'd use the same power bus with the 6.3, and then the ground would be through here, through your switch, whether you turn it to AM, lower or upper sideband. So I have some LEDs that should be here tomorrow. They're relatively inexpensive, and we'll go from there and see if we can make this thing a little bit better. The wiring for those light bulbs was so thin. There's no way that, I'm surprised that they worked at all, but I didn't realize that there was the on air was the top part. So alright, I'll keep you in line here. Alright, so here it's pretty much all back together now. We're back on the Sony camera, and let's see, show you there. Those are LED bulbs, so this would focus a bit better on there, but maybe if I back away. There you go, those are LED bulbs, and there's one LED bulb in the transmitter as well. Pick up, I put the bottom on the receiver just to confirm when I was doing the alignment that with all the covers on it was the same. I just finished with the transmitter. There was come on, focus there for us there, buddy, won't you? There you go. I just finished the transmitter. There was nothing, that was a very uneventful alignment. Pretty much everything, the IF ever so slightly was off. I found that I did have to take, they recommend that you stay on the outer section. These have both an upper and lower, and they recommend that the slugs be at the outer, either all the way out or all the way out the other side for the alignment. But this one actually, and the manual even says you can do that. For this one, the upper one had to go pretty much into the center before it would get aligned. That's where I got the most gain from it. So it seems to be okay. Let's see. I replaced the 4 tubes that I had question with. I'll have to look and see if they're on. I might have that on the other video. Yeah, I'll put the bottom on this and see how it runs. And see a little bit hot there, I guess. I see a little bit of color. I don't really see it unless it's in the camera. Yeah, the camera sure picks that out good. Yeah, that resistor might have been laying up against that before. Alright. Alright, so here we have the, that's it put back together. All the screws aren't in. I just put the covers back on to get a look at how it would go. The bottom covers were on. So it doesn't have to sit on its metal frame. It sits back on the pads. So the cabinets came really nice and clean. Look at this. Turn it on. I'll turn off the light so you can take a look at it in the dark. I'll show you the push to talk. That came on. Oops, yeah, my finger right in front of the camera. Try that again. Here's the push to talk. This is what the displays look like with LED bulbs. It's supposed to be just a replacement just for the original bulbs that were in there. Now that one's really bright because that's a see-through translucent number dial, whereas these were solid. It's actually the light shining above and below it that you can see. So let's see. A couple of things I found out with the A model is that apparently it wouldn't say 0, 1, it just says 1. Let me turn some lights back on so we can see what we're doing here. But that's about it. I'm not going to do too much more on this. This wasn't going to be a total restore. It was just going to be a clean them up and get it working again. And they really didn't need much. None of the capacitors really measured bad. I didn't test them for voltage leak, but as far as capacitance value, even the electrolytic can capacitors, they still came out okay as far as value goes. Just had to replace the wiring on the microphone, obviously, and clean everything up, and the alignment was pretty good. Come on, focus there, you camera from another world. This camera can drop one too many times. There we go. Alright. So one thing I need to add is with the factory capacitor in the 2 microfarad, there is next to no ping. You can almost hear a slight blink. That's it. But I don't think I want to change that out. I know that my 3 that's right behind it, it does it has a slight ping. And I kind of like that. I liked it with the 3. I don't know if I want it with the 4, but if I do, I can always upgrade that that capacitor that's in there a little bit. Alright, there's the, I don't know how well this is focusing. There we go. There's the AM dial. That was a lower sideband, upper sideband. You can see the color changes a little bit. Apparently the bulb that was in there must have started to burn some of that coloring off that. Well, I wish it would focus again. There we go. That plate is just a plastic, like red plate right here that comes out, and it has the AM upper sideband. It's all kind of written in there, like etched in there, and apparently it must have started to burn from having the incandescent bulbs in there. You can see that's definitely a different color. It's not as red anymore. It's just on the AM. So alright, a couple of things before I button it up here. I don't have a lot of light down here, but right back in here, that potentiometer right back in. I'm trying to get to it. That part right there, that's the clipper pot, I think R603. It's not really labeled, so when you have everything back together, it doesn't really have a label on it. Over here, I pulled out and changed, as you can see right here. That's the 20 microfarad at 450 volts. Originally there was a 2 microfarad in here. That's the what causes the ping on these. Now the schematic for this, for the audio section here, is identical to the Mark III, but the Mark III uses a 20 microfarad and the Mark IV uses a 2 microfarad. So there was no ping at all with the 2, and I think this gives it a nice, just almost like a chirp, and I'll demonstrate that real quick. Alright, so there we are on channel 19, and I don't know if you can see that, but channel 19 there. One thing you'll notice is I did swap them around, and the reason I did that is because the power transformer's up here, and I wanted to move that as far away from the transmitter as possible. So that's what I did. Whether it's really going to have any effect or not, I don't know. But here, still using the same mic, and I'll bring this back over. Here's the mic here. So I think it's a nice, easy ping that you don't have to wait too long for it to end, yet it'll still be a signifier. Alrighty, so there you have it. It's pretty much back together, and have it connected to the Antron 99, and really can't hear much. There's just CB's kind of dead around here, especially this time of night. During the day, you know, you get all the skip landers in there, and but come this time of night, not too many locals. Every now and then I'll hear somebody on one of the side bands talking local, but that's about it. So I'll show you the got a hook to the bird, and let me zoom in a little bit there. Should get about 4 watts dead key, between 3 and 4. And when I talk, it goes up to about 12 to 15. It's a little bit higher than it should be, but that was probably actually over modulating a little bit. I could turn that clipper down a little bit. So, thanks for watching. I hope you found something you can use in this. Take care.